Hello, everyone. Welcome. Let me know that you can hear me and see me, and we will get started. I'll give you guys a chance to hop on. Also, bring your Lady Balls book if you have it. If you don't, girl, you need to get the book. Need to get the textbook that goes with this channel. It's linked in the description box. You could also get it at uh, ladyballsbook.com. Okay, so what we're talking about today is this is my kind of pre-work for the financial literacy masterclasses that I'm planning on doing in my members only area starting next week after my in-person New Year's intensive happening this week, which I'm super, super excited about. It's happening in a couple days. So I wanted to have sort of a pre-work for everyone to start thinking about those master classes. You do need to be a member of the Level Up Queens to have access to the financial literacy master classes. And if your country doesn't allow that, by the way, try different devices. Sometimes it will allow it from a computer and not from a mobile device. Someone also just recently told me that you can use a VPN to sign up. I don't know how that works, but one of my students was telling me this. If not, I will be at some point putting those master classes in some sort of a course. I don't know where it's going to go yet. We're still figuring that out, but it will definitely be live in the members only area. This is the pre-work to sort of prepare for those master classes, okay? So I was having this conversation with my husband and then having this conversation with the ladies in my Money Grid mastermind, which is my mastermind for high-end women making 150,000 plus in their, businesses and their lives and their household. And some of the ladies in there are multimillionaires. And we just have this really high vibe group of how there is a big difference between masculine and feminine retirement. And we really need to start thinking about this. Now, of course, I'm not saying that men can't have a feminine type of retirement. They can. And women can, of course, have a masculine type of retirement. In fact, strangely enough, we're expected to do so. But as women in female bodies, we have different needs. Excuse me, I have a sore throat coming on, which is not good timing because I have my in-person intensive. So don't mind me if I'm a little raspy or coffee. So masculine retirement is basically what men have expected to do for all the time, right? It's like you start training to be a man, to be able to provide and protect since you're a teenager. You nowadays you go to school and do all of that. But back in the day, you start, hunting with the alpha males in the tribe. And so you had this preparation period, and then you had this sort of like building period and, providing period. So you would work really, really, really hard. You would put aside your feelings, you would put aside your needs as a man, and you would provide, for uh, four, 4 or 5 decades. And then, if you did everything right, you got to retire. Now, back in the day before money and before accumulation of investment accounts and such, excuse me, I'm gonna have to, let me see if I need like something. Okay. Before accounts, we, they became elders, meaning that if when men couldn't hunt anymore, they would become like the elders, the advisors in the tribe. And so the alpha males under them would look up to them, and they would kind of be the ones that are like just giving advice and like dealing with disputes in the tribe. And their retirement was that these other alpha younger men that they had trained, and maybe some of them were their kin, would then still give them resources, right? Like that was their retirement, that the younger generation would take care of the older generation. So that was back in the day. Now, in the modern systems that we have, it how it works is, you ideally, either have a pension or you save up in your own 401k retirement plan. And then when you're a man, you get to retire in your 60s, if you're lucky, or maybe in your 70s. And then you can still provide for yourself and your family through these investment accounts that you have. Well, as women have come into the workforce and now we have careers and businesses, we are expected, or maybe we expect ourselves to do the same, that we will hustle and grind and work and put aside our feelings and needs for all of these decades. And then maybe someday, you get to retire. And let me also define retirement. We're going to need to refer to the book, so I was holding it. But retirement is when you don't you're not working for survival anymore. You're not working just to have a paycheck and just to pay your bills, but you're creating something. Okay. So you might still look like you're working, but you're very much in creation mode. So, for example, when I got married to my husband at 28, he retired me. And for 9 years, I was doing nothing except having my babies, raising my babies, doing my inner work, doing whatever the hell I wanted. And then after that, I went into sort of like my creation mode, right? This might look like work to some people, but it's me just creating out of my overflow. So, as women, our retirement plan needs to look different because we can't do the masculine thing of like working for 4 or 5 decades and then we get to have our creative time, our what create whatever time, because a lot of us need to take a break in the middle to create babies or to engage in some other creative prospects. And men can do this too, obviously. We've had the concept of mini retirements. But what I talked about in my Lady Balls book, this was chapter, let me give you guys context what chapter this is. Chapter 5, the Having It All Blueprint. And on page 127, I started talking about the different seasons of life that a woman goes through. And what I've learned is that in order to truly feel fulfilled as a woman, you need to be able to set yourself up with knowing that your retirement is going to look differently. So, for example, I started working. I can't remember if I was like almost about to turn 17 or already 17, but around that age. And so I was in corporate from like 16, 17 to about 22. And so, that was sort of like working for survival mode. Then from 22 to almost 28, so 27 and something, I had my own business, and again, working for survival. Like I had to pay the bills, I had to put myself through school, and for part of that journey, I had to, help me pay, raise my son. And so it was very much working for survival. Like I had to work to pay the bills. When I got married to Irfan, he retired me. I was 27, about to turn 28. For 9 years, I had this retirement period in my life where he was paying all the bills and I was just having his babies, raising his babies, doing my inner work, and just being in that season of life where I didn't have any responsibilities as far as like paying bills, worrying about bills, or anything like that. After that, in 2017, I had this inspiration to, well, you guys asked for it. That's how I got inspired to do that. I had a YouTube channel that I was kind of sharing my inner work and my journey with, and my recipes and my cooking and all of the stuff I was doing. And so you guys started asking for life coaching, and I had an inspiration. Okay, I'm gonna do this. So then I started this business. But when I started this business, I had no intention of paying any bills. I didn't have to pay any bills because my husband and I, the year prior to that, had already gotten to financial independence, which meant that at the age of, how old was Irfan then? Mid 40s, he had been able to achieve the masculine style of retirement early in his life. So neither of us needed to work for survival anymore. We could just create whatever we wanted to create without worrying about, money coming in, not coming in, how much is coming in. It doesn't matter. We're just doing this because we want to do it. All of our needs are being met. because of, his planning and all of that stuff. But another thing to keep in mind is like, I was thinking, let's say that I do this for, I don't know, 10 years. I don't know, I'm 6 years in. And I decide that I need to not do this anymore, that I don't even want to pour my creative energy into anything. Like I just go into another season of retirement. I could do that, right? Because I've set myself up in that way. Or let's say that my kids are older and they're married and they have babies and they need me to step in and help with my grandchildren. So sorry, excuse me. I don't know why my throat is so achy and coffee. And I can do that. I can take, I can pull my creative energy from this venture, and I still obviously would have my courses, I would still have my books. They would be running behind the show, behind the scenes doing its thing, but I wouldn't have to actively do anything, and I could just take care of my grandchildren. I could help, I could do whatever I want. So as a woman, you know, typically more is required of us to make babies, to have babies, to raise babies. And we like to have that freedom, that work optional lifestyle, those mini retirements. As women, we're also often the ones that are responsible for taking care of aging parents or helping our children when they have children, right? Like with our grandchildren. And so I think that before I teach you anything about financial literacy, right, in those master classes that I'm about to do next week, I have to set you up and knowing that, the cookie cutter plan that is typically taught from the masculine perspective may not always work for you because you do have slightly different needs. You can't wait until your 50s and 60s before you have a break because you need to have your kids before that. You might be required to step in and take care of aging parents. You might need to help with your grandchildren, or you might just have other things that you want to pour your creative energy in. And as women, I've already talked about in this book that when we're being literally sucked dry by, our masculine energy having to do all of these things that we're required to do in the masculine workplace, we often don't have anything left to pour into our creative pursuits, into speaking with God, into receiving downloads, into helping communities and families and all of the things that we like to do and are often required to do as women. And so as a woman, start thinking in terms in seasons of life, no matter how old you are, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're 16 watching this or 87 watching this. There's different seasons of your life that you have to give yourself permission to go through. And no one season of life defines you forever. No one season of life is like, okay, well, this is what I'm gonna do forever. You're not gonna do that forever, okay? Because as a woman, you're very cyclical in nature, and you will be doing things for 5, 6, 7 years, and then you're going to do something different, and your situation can change in the blink of an eye, and you want to be prepared emotionally, energetically, spiritually, physically, and financially to give yourself permission to be able to do that. Let me see what you guys are doing before I continue talking. Hello, everyone. We're celebrating 13 years on YouTube. My 13-year anniversary is this week, and so excited. How do I find a provider man if he can very obviously see that I don't really need to be provided for? Men don't provide because of your needs, they provide because of their needs. They need to provide. It has nothing to do with you. What you need to do is stop uncoupling need with providing for you. If you need to be provided for, that means you're a basic babe. right? And that's when I don't want you to get into being provided for. I want you to do your inner work. Basic babes can get into all kinds of tricky situations. So, by definition, what I'm teaching applies to women that don't need to be provided for, but are taking one for the team to give the masculine the experience he needs to feel fulfilled in his life and his relationships. You letting him provide is you taking one for the team. Okay, it's a sacrifice you must make as a woman. So he's healthy, you're healthy, and your future children are healthy, and society is healthy. So I want you to take one for the team and let him provide for you. Okay? Love you. Pretending to be retired today since it's a holiday. I need this. Thank you. I love that. Just relaxing into acting as if, visualizing into it, feeling into it. I love that. The lack of energy I have towards my creative projects because of work makes total sense. Yeah. And the thing is, maybe you have a side hustle or a side hobby, but think about how much more you would able to give your all into it if you didn't have the working for survival window open. That's not something women have had to deal with. It's a very new thing for us. And so our psyche, our nervous system is not really trained for it. It's not evolved for it. So when women work for survival, it is a big window open for us. It drains us. Is it normal for a 24-year-old woman to want all these, but my parents never talk about marriage? We are three sisters. It feels hectic sometimes, and I'm interested in traditional life. So, what part are you asking? Is it normal? What I'm going to say about that, do you want to be normal? I never wanted to be normal because what was normal around me wasn't what was my heart was desiring, right? So, I are you more concerned with wanting what's normal, what like fitting in with what's around you, or do you just want what your heart desires? That's the question I would ask. I can't just like I'm not someone that can live my life based on, oh, I should do something that's normal. What's normal? Oh, that's normal. Let me do that. That's not me. Like I have to do what my heart wants to do. Semi-retired and loving it. After getting married, I had to work hard to downgrade the work for survival. It's fun. Let him provide. So, what I want you to do is start looking at your entire life and thinking of daydreaming of kind of desiring, I wonder what those seasons of life will look like, right? I talked about in the book how we want to try to have our babies, if we desire to have babies, in the time that we are most healthiest to do so, when our eggs are the most healthiest, when our body is the most healthiest, because a lot of times we wait too long to do that because society lies to us and says we can have babies at any age, but there's complications, there's issues. It's a more upstream battle, right? I deal with the women all the time in their late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s that are dealing with all kinds of issues because they didn't think about these things, they didn't plan accordingly. So think about your different seasons of life. And if you're an older woman, even think about your past seasons and just kind of thinking like, oh, interesting, I was in my survival season in this life, or I was being provided for in this season. And just kind of use that as a creative mode to think, well, what do I want my future seasons of life to look like? The other thing I want to talk to you guys about is different seasons bring a different reality sometimes because different seasons have us as women prioritizing different things in our life. And there is this saying that if you have more than three priorities, you have none. Most of you, if you're being honest, don't really have any priorities because you're priorities prioritizing everything all at once, which by definition means you don't really have a priority. So when I was in my making babies era, okay, I wasn't trying to prioritize flying first class. or flying, or you know what I mean? Like at that time, it wasn't the season of my life to have all of these different things because I wanted to just nest and be at home and raise my babies. And I kept my world where all the priority was on my babies, on my husband, and my inner work. Anything more than that, my nervous system couldn't really handle without sacrificing something from here, right? There's only so much energy we have, there's only so much time. And I didn't want to do that to my hormones at that time. So I wasn't trying to create a business at that time. I wasn't trying to have the luxury lifestyle at the time. My luxury lifestyle at the time was, being able to wake up when I wake up, being able to be with my babies all day long, not having to worry about bills or anything. Like just being in my own little baby bubble was luxury at that time. And that's okay. And I think sometimes, we are trying to cram everything. Now, another woman, maybe she married a wealthier man that I did. Maybe she could have flying first class and flying private and everything all at once. And I'm so happy for her. And that is amazing. Obviously, that woman would have had a larger container for all of that than I did at the time. And that's okay. We're on a different journey, right? We're at different phases. But I have always been able to find joy and gratitude and luxury in the season that I was in. And I do consider that one of my superpowers because I know that the season is not always going to last. There's going to be more seasons. There's always more abundance. My priorities will shift and change as my kids get older, as I get older, as I learn more things, as we make more wealth. My priorities will shift and I get to overall in my entire life experience all of the things that God wants me to experience. I get to truly have it all, but I know that for myself, I've never had the nervous system to have it all at once. I'm not that person that like I have to cram everything in this one moment. No one moment is like a make or break deal for my life because I'm looking at my life as 80 years, 100 years of what God has provided me, God willing on this earth. I get to have all the experiences. They do not have to be inappropriately crammed when I'm not ready for them. Does that make sense? So, um, you know, there's going to be seasons where you might have to live on a little bit less because you're on one income and your man is providing. But in that moment, accepting what is available, accepting that, I might not be wearing designer clothes and living in mansions and doing all those things, but I get to be at home with my children. I get to create my own schedule. Whatever that thing is that you do have, finding joy in that thing. Okay. I did not, the lifestyle that you guys see me in my Instagram stories living now is not what I have had my entire life, but that's okay. I've never had the container for that better ever, right? I get to enjoy that now. And maybe you're going to see me living an even bigger vision next year and in 10 years. I get to do that, but I don't have to cram that into every season. Yeah. Yes, I found that life is better when I'm grounded, present, and grateful. Yes. So, for those of you guys that have been following me for 13 years, when Irfan and I used to do those financial videos together, remember our budget was different back then. Our priorities were different. Even our early retirement number, our FI number, was so different. Initially we thought we were going to retire at a completely different number because our needs were different at that time because we had based that off of that season of life. And as we grew, that number changed and evolved, and we were able to accumulate, a more wealth because we're learning, we're growing, we're evolving with those seasons and not trying to force something in a season right now. Yeah. So when you think about your ideal life, I think I see a lot of women doing this where they think that there is this one ultimate lifestyle and this one ultimate dream, and it's that or nothing. But in order for you to create a internal environment, an internal container to even have that dream, you might have to go through different rites of passage. You might have to learn to you know, be financially literate, to manifest, to commingle finances, to learn to talk about money in a non-triggering way, to co-pilot the ship for a little bit, right? Like I've had to learn to do all of these things alongside my husband on this journey. And every year we get stronger, we get more robust, we learn new things. If I've been sharing this with you guys in the last 3 or 4 months, Irfan's been on this intense financial, like next level financial literacy journey. Like he's always been like financially literate in the basics, but like now he's like thinking in like the ultra high net individual, right? The classes he's taking, the mentors he's hiring, the people he's working with now, they don't talk about debt management. They don't talk about savings account. They don't even talk about investments. Like the world that he's in right now, it just blows my mind. It's beyond anything even knew was available even 6 months ago. So you don't have to make every decision of your life right now based on that ultimate dream, because you have to go through seasons sometimes to learn and activate. The truth is, you don't even know what the ultimate dream is right now, because your heart, God will only deliver you the next thing, you know, the next few things. And sometimes when we see someone else's thing because of their container, we think, oh, that's what I want. That's what you might ultimately get. But base your desires. Remember in yesterday's video, I said, don't charge based on someone else's container. You know, it should be based on your container. Well, dream based on your container first. Yes, you do get to have bigger, obviously, but do you really have the nervous system? Do you really have the container for that yet? Okay. I think this is golden, being able to embrace the season of life. How do we upgrade our spouse from poverty mindset to abundance? So the more you upgrade, then naturally he will upgrade. So in my relationship courses, I've taught you guys the concept of meta updating. So meta updating assumes that when two people that respect each other, are intelligent, come together and they see each other as intelligent and respect each other's viewpoints, that they start changing and merging viewpoints. So how I changed my husband from his poverty mindset, even though he was like very good with money his entire life, he had a very hard time spending money and enjoying money. And I was really bad with money. I made tons of it. I couldn't keep it, but I enjoyed it, right? So it was like two different worlds coming together. So over time, he meta updated me to be healthy with money, to be able to keep money, to be able to invest money and grow money. And I meta updated him in being able to spend money and manifest money and enjoy money. So when you're married, if you're actually doing your inner work, what a lot of people do is they don't do their inner work and they project their lack of inner work and blame their partner. You can't meta update him like that. You just can't. Because you're not respecting him and he's not seeing you as intelligent when you're blaming him. Hi, Mina. I've been watching a lot of your content recently, and I'm so grateful for the wisdom shared. Thank you. You're so welcome. This is for those of you guys just joining us. We're celebrating 13 years on YouTube this week. Super excited to be celebrating with you guys. And this is a pre-work class that I'm going to be doing for the series of master classes I'm going to be doing on my YouTube membership, my called Level Up Queens. So sign up for the YouTube membership if you want to become financially literate, not from the perspective of scarcity, but from the perspective of abundance and barakat. So I'm going to do that in members only. Eventually, those trainings will also end up either in a new financial course or one of my existing financial courses. But I'll share more about that to my email list. So sign up for my email list because that's where I send you guys the behind the scenes information about these things. Let me see if I can get you guys the link for my email list. It's always at theuniverseguru.com, but let me find it for you guys. I think sometimes we try to skip seasons and we are planning for a season of life that we're not really prepared for yet. And that's when we can feel like it's not coming, it's not happening. Let me get you that. Okay, here it is. Here's the direct link for my email list. Let me test it out, make sure everything's good with it. Yay, okay. Here it is. Okay. Love the message Leslie said about working with the container you have now rather than trying to overexpand your container to match someone else's dreams, desires. Exactly. And you know what, babe? Remember in the book, when I was telling the story about my professor saying if she had $1 million, she would put it in the bank and she would live off the interest and just read all day. And I was like, wait, what? That's an option? I want that option. Sign me up for that, please, please, right? But at like 22, I didn't have the container to become a millionaire the next day, right? She had awakened a desire in me, but it was like, you know, did I really have the container to have that at that moment? No, no. But it was like, okay, ping, like that's a desire that's going to happen. Now, I had to still move in the container that I was in, right? Like the year after that, I started making six figures a year in my real estate business. I started my real estate business and started making six figures a year in that real estate business. So I'm moving in the container that I have. And then the year following that, I was making multiple six figures a year in my real estate business. Again, I'm moving towards it, right? So 6 years later, Irfan retired me when I got married. So it's like, oh my God, I'm halfway there, right? Was Irfan a millionaire when I married him? He was not, okay? Was I a millionaire when I married Irfan? I was not. Did our combined uh, money make us millionaires? It did not. But half of my dream came true. Half of my desire came true because he retired me. And I was like, oh my God, I can just read all day and do whatever I want. My dream came true. Then years later, our net worth finally reached that $1 million mark. It was a couple months before Alina was born, right? Our Lakshmi came, right? You know, Alina brought it with her. And so then the whole thing was, but look at all of those years that I still had to do my inner work, become financially literate, manage my triggers, heal my trauma. Like I had to do all of those things. Now, some people manifest money without healing. But are those people healthy and are they happy? I know plenty of people because even in my real estate business and with my business now, I have access to people's personal information. In my real estate business, I had access to people's personal finances, their credit scores. Like I knew the things that were happening in their marriage because I saw it in action as I was helping them with their real estate. Well, with the coaching that I do, I have access to people's deepest desires and traumas and things. And let me tell you that you can skip steps, but it's not always going to lead you to that ultimate bliss state that we all desire. The whole point of wanting money is so that we can be happy, we can be content, we can be joyful, we can be free, we can create our own lifestyle and our own schedule, and we can do the things we want to do with our loved ones. So yes, can you still have money without inner work? Absolutely. I had lots of money in my real estate business with no inner work. Where is it? Nowhere. Okay. Was I still very sad? Yes. Was I depressed? Yes. Did I at one point try to take my life? Yes. Okay. The money didn't solve anything. I'm grateful that I had it because could provide for myself and my son, but it didn't make me happy because I wasn't internally happy. Does money make me happy now? Absolutely. Everything makes me happy because I'm a happy person. So anything that enters my life, it magnifies and amplifies the happiness that it's already inside me through my own inner work. So money is just a tool to amplify what's already inside of us. And we have to start at the beginning with working through the things and the beliefs and the relationships that we have that are distorting the reality of money. Yeah. And so those are the things I'm going to teach you guys in the financial literacy masterclasses happening next week in my members only area. But this pre-work is important because you have to almost energetically and physically prepare yourself to even receive that information. Let me keep track of time because I have a meeting, but I'm good right now. I'm loving that all of you guys are joining the membership. Welcome, everyone. So happy to have you. Novelle, thank you for the super chat. That is so generous. I appreciate it. What is a great book to start learning financial literacy? Oh, there's so many. They will all put you in extreme poverty mindset, but I have a lot. I started reading one recently. I was telling the money grid people, and I'm like, this is so boring and so basic. You can start with any of Dave Ramsey's books will be great. Let me think another one. The one I started reading was I Will Teach You to Be Rich, but again, it's so basic. And I know most people need the basic, but a lot of that stuff puts you in so much scarcity mindset. And so that's why I'm teaching my version because I'm not going to start at the basic. I'm going to start at the end. So you can read I Will Teach You to Be Rich. You can read any of Dave Ramsey's books. Oh, the one that I actually like from all of these examples is um, Automatic Millionaire. That's a good one. I do really like that one. Automatic Millionaire is good. At least I thought I remember liking it when I read it over a decade ago. There's there's so many financial literacy books. Financial literacy information is everywhere. It's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, it's everywhere. The problem is that if you relate to my content, you're gonna have trouble with it. Because what's gonna happen is you're gonna come watch my content and the vibration here is like abundance, barakat, you get to have it all, infinite blessings. There's more than enough for everyone. And then you're gonna go read those books and you're gonna be like, someone just shoot me because this is so miserable. And so that's the experience that I used to have when I was trying to become financially literate, and it was like used to give me a headache. And I never like saw myself qualified to teach financial literacy, except like I feel like no one's more qualified than me because I have the mindset of abundance, and I've literally went through that journey, right? Like I knew how to manifest, but I couldn't keep a penny to my name, and then had to overcome that to really create wealth. So I'm gonna do my best to teach it to you guys from a practical, like masculine, but also very feminine and fun perspective. You guys have been asking about this. Millionaire Next Door, it's not a financial literacy book. Yes, I love that book, but it's not a financial literacy book. It's a feminine book. Financial literacy books are where they teach you to balance your checkbook and open up a bank account and a savings account and how to pay off your debt. That's financial literacy books, most of them. They always start with the debt, always with the debt and the saving money on the lattes. Yes, Dave Ramsey is really good for basic babes. I highly recommend that. Absolutely. Learning about the energetics of money is very eye-opening. Absolutely. I think you need to be able to do both at the same time. Like you need the egg and the sperm to create a baby. You need the masculine and the feminine to create wealth. That's why I've been so resistant to learning financial literacy. Yep, that's why. Because the truth is, I don't blame those people. When you talk about those topics, there's no way to infuse it with enough energetics because it is very practical. That's why if you've noticed, the people that teach about the energetics of money stay in that realm. The people that teach about the financial literacy, the masculine part, stay in that realm because they seem almost like uh oil and water. Like it seems like they repel each other, but you need to be able to learn and hold both of them if you're going to create actual wealth. You're going to have to. Because you could be just as bad with money with $10 million dollars than you can with $10. Yeah, we've all heard those stories. And so, becoming truly healthy with money requires us to be able to learn both of those skill sets. I'm so excited and ready for these financial literacy series. Now I know why I bought a new journal when I seemed I didn't need one. I love it. Excited. You're all ready to go. Hey, attract success queen. Yes, we need to be talking about this. The only channel I can watch is Investing with Rose. I actually found her from one of your courses. Yes, I had seen some of her videos back then and recommended her for investing. So excited for your finance lessons. I'm technically good with money, but I know my money mindset is still in that poverty, boring, basic realm. LOL, ready for fun upgrades. And the truth is, you're going to need upgrades at every level. Think of it this way. I have a whole mm, mastermind for women that are creating at next level, right? Some of these women are multimillionaires. They're doing really well. Why did they join this mastermind? Because women like us that are high achievers creating on next level planes need that uh, safe place even more to do next level things for money, to talk about next level opportunities with money, fun with money, because the rest of the world is still talking about paying off debt and still talking about, I can't make my ends meet. We don't want to be gridded into that. We don't want to be plugged into that morphogenetic field. That wouldn't be healthy for us. So we need more spaces where it's okay not to start at the rock bottom because all of the financial literacy stuff literally assumes that you're debt broke, that you're paycheck to paycheck, that you have piles of debt. And so they start there. But with my process, if you just start at the end, you start learning about both the masculine literacy and the feminine energetics, the debt will automatic by definition it would be eliminated. You can't have debt and those things in the same thing unless you wanted to use debt as leverage at this point. I have my first job and any dad, I would love to learn how to invest and save. If you want the quickest way to learn how to invest and save, here's a book. It's called The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. J.L. Collins is like everyone's grandfather or father. He wrote that book with no intention for anyone other than his daughter reading it. And his daughter was very much like me, meaning like she doesn't want to be bogged down with all the extra details. She's like, just tell me what to do in the simplest terms you can. And that is a very powerful book. Very powerful book. If you're just like, Mina, I'm good with everything else. I just need to learn how to invest. Read that book. It's called The Simple. I believe it's in my Amazon store with all my other book recommendations. I mentioned earlier that I desire to teach financial literacy and I have an ebook ready to publish, but I'm glad I found your content. It appears to be an indicator to pump the brakes. Maybe there's some kind of a fun infusion that could be applied. Is that what's coming up for you? I have no clue what I want to do anymore for a career. Should I prioritize marriage and not worry about it? I don't want you to do anything until you read my book and start talking to God. Because when you're in that thing where you're manifesting out instead of manifesting in, so don't just because you don't know what career you're trying to you want to do, you're like, should I just do marriage? Don't do it. Don't do anything right now. Start talking to God first. And I teach you how to do that in um, Lady Balls. Do that first, and then you'll know. I recently got a promotion. I'm in a leadership position for the first time. My container is getting expanded. Congratulations, Jazz. I'm so happy to hear that. Congrats. Your container is definitely expanded. Let me see what you guys are saying. Thank you, Suki, for the compliment. I just had a massive haircut, so I'm not like, I don't know if I'm like used to it yet. Chopped off a lot of hair. Everyone was like, do not do this before your intensive. I'm like, it was like overwhelming me. Let me see. Sorry, I opened the chat to everyone and then it kind of gets a little overwhelming and I can't see if you're talking to each other or me. So I'm trying to find where you guys are actually talking to me. For the energetics of money, I highly, highly, highly recommend my Millionaires course. It's a play shop with lots of it's got masculine in it as well, actually. And it's part of the main money course, but Millionaires is a great place for you to start and put the practices in place and then manifest up to the full money course. So I'll put that in the link for you in the chat. Hi, Mina, would you write your own financial book? When I was writing Lady Balls, I kept getting the download that my next book was going to be a financial book, but I haven't started writing it yet. I haven't gotten like the full, like it hasn't co started coming through fully in a way that I can start writing it yet, if that makes sense. Thank you, Goddess, for the compliment. Both of my current books have money in it, though. I ended the Contained in Love book with money. I think the chapter was called Put Your Money Where Your Soul Is. And I ended the last three chapters of Lady Balls is also about money. So, which I found really interesting. It wasn't planned that way. I actually figured this out just recently. I'm like, so interesting that I start with inner work, all my books, and I always end with money. Do your inner work, you have money. I don't know. Is this weird? How do you level up out of being the masculine container for adults? You just make it a part of your core values. So I have a deal with God that I will never interrupt God's process. And God has godly ways of doing godly things. It is not my job to end wars. It is not my job to, pull people in from poverty. It is not my job to give people money before they're ready for it. It's not my job to buy people homes and cars. None of those things are my jobs. Like all of that is God's job. This is God's kingdom. We are God's people, right? So I'm not supposed to be interfering with any of it. I'm here to do the tasks that God has designed me to do. How do I know that God wants me to do something? It feels good. God directly tells me to do it. It feels good, even if it's scary, even if it's expansive. It feels like something I want to do, and I desire to do it. Even if it feels hard, I want to do it. It aids in my expansion. Those are the things I do. So when I feel like giving to someone, I do that. When I don't, when it's out of guilt, out of obligations, I don't do it. I'm not God. I'm not anyone's parent except for my children, right? So yeah, I've had people expect me to buy them homes. Do you know that I bought my cousin a house when I think this was before my 21st birthday. That's not my job. Women don't buy anyone homes. We just don't. We're not designed for that. So it's not my job and it's not your job. Your job is to do your inner work. In fact, it is irresponsible for you to stop doing your inner work and act like you're some kind of savior for other people and go try to save people. That's not our job. What if God doesn't want us to mingle with godly things? What if everyone is doing the things that they came here to do and you keep trying to save everyone like some kind of a weird superhero? God did not ask you to save everyone. Hi, Heather Ann. I haven't seen you in a moment, but I love all of your lovely comments and your emails. Miss you. Listening to Contained in Love these days, my oldest surprisingly is taking a lot of interest in listening to it. She's not into books at all, so that's been so pleasant to see. Yay, maybe because my books are fun. I think when people say to me, I'm not into reading, I'm like, maybe you just haven't read anything fun yet because everyone loves to read when they find the thing that they love to read, right? We don't like to read always when it's assigned. Like even at university, I was assigned a bazillion books. I loved some of them and I hated some of them. That doesn't mean I don't like reading. I just didn't like those books. As a woman, it is not your job to save people. It's not your job to pay for people. It's not your job to buy people homes, to buy people cars. So, do I want to go there? You know that video that I posted yesterday? There was 8 minutes of footage that I removed out of it. It didn't make the cut, but do I want to talk about it right now? Do I have time, first of all? Yes, okay, I have time. Uh, okay, hold on, let me see. Okay, I'm just gonna do it because maybe someone needs to hear it. So the part that didn't make that video, the part that I kind of had second doubts about and I cut, and then I got so many DMs from you guys saying, yesterday's video was for me, and comments of people saying, oh my God, thank you for saying this. And I'm like, damn it, I should not have removed that 8 minutes. Maybe someone could have found that useful. So the 8 minutes that I removed was about the rich auntie effect. So I saw this happening to my mother, and then I started playing that script until, and I was very annoyed that I was behaving like Sheena and doing the thing. And then I was having this conversation last year with one of my clients who is very, very wealthy. And she was like telling me about the rich auntie effect. And I'm like, oh my God, that happens to me. I hate it. And that used to happen to Sheena too. And so the rich auntie effect, let me tell you how it plays in my life. Okay. Anytime there is any problem in someone's mind, right? It's always like, maybe Mina can buy me a house. Maybe Mina can buy me a car. Every time there is like a birthday, like this has been something that I've had to do inner work around, and I can talk about it now from a funny place. It's almost funny now. I've made peace with it, but I just want you to know that it wasn't easy while I was in it. I had to go through a process of no matter how generous I was with birthday presents, anniversary presents, wedding presents, the people opening the present were always expecting $1 million. And obviously, I have no intention of giving someone a house or a car or $1 million for their birthday or for their wedding. So let's say that from my perspective, I was being super generous, super, super generous. No matter how much I gave, they would open the present or open the check, and there would always be this ping of fuck, it's not a house. Or why didn't she give $1 million? And it felt really uncomfortable because I remember when we were in our financial independent journey, Irfan and I had decided that for birthdays, for friends, this is how much we're going to give, and for family, this is how much we're going to give. For weddings, for friends, this is how much we're going to give, and for birthday weddings for family, this is like we had pre-decided these things in our budget so that there wasn't any confusion and it didn't feel like we were giving my family less or his family more. Like we had already decided this. Well, whatever we gave to his family, they were very excited. And because the container he had set with them was they already knew how he is and they had certain expectations, and those are just the people that he is. With my family and my friends, it was different. And I had set a different, I was coming through a different lineage of generational curses. So even if let me give you an actual example. At one point in our journey, we had decided that we were going to give, this is like over a decade ago, that for birthdays we were going to give $200 to friends and family. And even if I was like talked Irfan into just this one time, can we just give them 300 or 400 or 500? And he would be like, okay, but we had decided on this, but we're just going to make this one exception. He would still do, we would do it. And no matter how generous we were being, there was always this level of disappointment. It was never like appreciation because, like my client said, the rich auntie effect. Because every time, there's a birthday, it's like, how much would rich auntie give us? How much, every time there's a wedding, how much will rich auntie give us? If there is a surgery, maybe rich auntie can save us. We need a house. Rich auntie will buy us a house. My car is broke down. Maybe rich auntie. And my client was saying something that gave me chills because that's exactly what happened with my mom. And I was on that path as well, where it's like, then it just comes to a point where every Christmas, every birthday, every emergency, you stop seeing rich auntie as a human being. You stop seeing rich auntie as someone that has feelings, and you just see rich auntie as a checkbook, and you're just basically waiting the finale, the grand finale, as you're waiting for rich auntie to die, and then you're like, I wonder how much rich auntie will give us. But what the fuck did you give rich auntie? All you gave her were your problems and your expectations. That's the 8 minutes that cut out of it. And so I was having this discussion with my sons, and I think Alina was there too, but Armaan was bringing up this really interesting point. He was saying, Mom, I see these videos of people going on to strikes and all of this stuff and ranting about working for a rich employer and not getting paid enough. And he was like, it always makes me suspicious because they agreed to a certain wage, right? Like they agreed to a certain amount. And the example that Armaan brought was brilliant. He said, just because you're a janitor and you happen to be working for a multimillionaire doesn't mean that your salary is going to be $1 million. And I was like, oh my God, Armaan, I can so relate to this because yes, because that multimillionaire boss maybe will give you more than what other janitors make. Maybe you're a really great janitor, but there is generally a certain range of what a janitor makes. So what you're asking should not change based on your employer's container. It should be based on the value that you bring in your container. Okay? So let me give you another example of this. When we moved into this house, everyone in this neighborhood were basically being ripped off in every service. Like they had hired all of these mediocre people that weren't doing a fantastic job, but were charging them 3, 4 times the going rate for those jobs. And Irfan walked in and he's like, what the hell is going on here, right? When we moved here. And the thing that pissed Irfan off is that a lot of these people, these vendors, had really nasty attitudes. They were mean, they were entitled, they did half-ass jobs, and yet they were charging 4 or 5 times more. So what Irfan started doing is calling the people that we were working with in our old neighborhood who were doing a fantastic job, and he's like, if I'm gonna pay this amount of money, I would rather pay those people that have been with us for 10, 11 years and who are kind, who are compassionate, who are responsible, who are professional, who are not rude. Let's pay them. So Irfan started calling those vendors and said, hey, we've moved into this new neighborhood. It's a lot further for you. Totally understand. I'm gonna give you double what I was paying you before. Are you willing to drive here? And the people were like, yes, we'll do it. So then he would get off the phone with them and he would call our neighbors and he would say, hey, I have a guy. He's willing to drive. I know you're paying $4,000 for this. He's going to charge you $2,000. He's going to be respectable. He's not going to be rude. He's not going to give you an attitude. And I can guarantee that he's going to do a much better job than this guy. And they were like, yes, sign us up. So then he would call the other guy back and be like, hey, since you're already coming here, I got you 6 more homes. And those guys were like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'll bring my cousin, I'll bring my son. Thank you, appreciate you. So, it's like you have these people for somehow thinking that just because they're working for these mansions and these multimillionaires that they're going to be rude, they're going to be irresponsible, unprofessional, act like they're entitled, do a half-ass job because they have money, and they're not, they don't deserve good service because they have so much money and they don't care. No, that's not how it works, right? So all of these things are lessons that Irfan and I have had to learn on this journey. And I've had to almost just expect that no matter what I give someone, they are, not everyone. I know my in-laws are not like that. My team isn't like that. A lot of people in my life are also not like that. But I still do also have people where no matter what I give, I know that I have to be okay with what I'm giving. I know what I'm giving is 10 times more generous than anything else that they ever received. But I know that they're always expecting $1 million, but they don't have a container for $1 million. Because if they did, they would already have $1 million. So anyways, that's the bit that didn't make that video. That's why when I hear like people saying, "Oh, that rich person didn't pay me enough," they paid you what you asked for. They're not gonna pay you what their container is or what their ability to pay is because they might not see you as someone that's bringing that value. Okay. I've shared did I share with you yesterday? I think in yesterday's video I did share, right? What happened with the Lady Balls book, that people were quoting these outrageous prices for services that go for like 1/10 of the, that amount because they were basing the price out of my container, not theirs. There's a difference between price and value, and people, yeah, I think they confuse the two. Oh my God, the pool guy that the previous owner to this house was using. Oh my God, like a-hole. Like he was so rude. We put up with him, I think, for 3 or 4 weeks. I was just in shock with how rude he was, how mean he was, and what a poor job he was doing. And then he was expecting that we're just gonna be okay with it. Irfan was like, I can't stand this guy. Like, hell no. Thank you. The rich auntie is not source. God is. We all have the same access to God. Exactly. Exactly. Breaking generational curses will make us a savior in a way, and people get blindly dazzled by it. It's our job to put boundary to give from overflow and protect our money flow. I see that now. My immigrant families had this issue too. Their family back home kept on requesting money for their business life, but we were literally struggling in poverty and they were expecting my parents to give. Salma, I can totally relate to this. I was being sexually molested in my own home every day. while my parents were out hustling and sending all that money back to their families. We were living in tiny studio roach infected apartments while they had maid service and my parents were sending them money. It's called immigrant survivors guilt. Like, hell no. My responsibility is to my children. I'm not writing someone $1 million check for their birthday or for their wedding or whatever. I'm not buying someone a house. I'm a woman. Men, I get a house, right? Like when I'm a child, my dad is supposed to buy me a house. When I'm an adult, my husband is supposed to buy me a house. Why are people even expecting that from you? That is ridiculous. Laugh in their face and be like, "Excuse me, ma'am, I'm a woman." Loving this class, Mina. Thank you so much. You're so welcome. Wow, Mina, that reminds me of something I read about celebrities having the worst healthcare because the professionals want money more than caring for the patient. Oh no, that's so sad. I can totally hear you. It's like people just see dollar signs, but it's like provide the value and then we will pay. But what was happening in this neighborhood when we moved in was so shocking to Irfan because he's like, I'm I can make peace with paying 4 times more with living in a rich neighborhood, but the service is horrendous because the attitude of the people were, oh, these are rich people. They don't care about money. But that's not how they got rich, right? Like you still have to provide a good service if you want to keep your job. And our old service providers were so excited to get all of these high vibe clients, and they're making a lot more money than they were making in the old neighborhood. And Ifan made it easy for them because the day that they come for us, they can do all the other homes. Like he just made it so easy for everyone. Yeah, just stop doing it. This is this is the conversation I wish I would have had with some family and friends that were literally trying to drown me when I was trying to do my inner work and get ahead and make something of my life. And I never had this conversation with them, but I this is what I would have said. I would have said, "Listen, every time you found yourself homeless, I've given you a place to stay. Every time you needed a meal, I've taken you out to eat. Every time you or your children needed clothes, supplies, a place to live, money, I've provided that. Please let me succeed. Please don't drown me. Me succeeding is not a threat to you. It actually is going to help you more. But just please stop drowning me for 1 second so I can get my head above water. And then trust me, from my overflow, you will all benefit. I will end up breaking generational curses. I will actually be healthier and wealthier, and I will be able to help you in way bigger ways than I can help you now. But please, for 1 second, stop drowning me. Let me breathe. Let me help you. Help me help you. Stop drowning me. Because that's exactly what happened. When I disconnected and focused on myself, I talked about changing my phone number. Even you guys remember in Lady Balls, I talked about that. Now, from my overflow, I can teach you stuff. I can be an inspiration. By the way, those same people are now doing fabulous. They're happily married. They have their own homes. They have businesses and jobs and education. I disengaged. I stopped enabling them to stay poor. I stopped enabling them to stay predators. I just focused on myself, and they're like, oh, this bitch is not gonna help. And she's doing well, and she keeps doing better and better. I better hustle too. I better do something. I better move my hands and feet. These chats bring me so much peace watching while painting my nails. Oh, that sounds so good. I love that. Okay, are we good on time? Let me confirm. Is my appointment at 11:30 or 11? Let me make sure. I think it's at 11:30. Okay, I'm good. Someone keep time for me. Let me know like 11:20 Central Time that I have to go. The success tax, LOL. By the way, we had this one guy come in the house. Was it a plumber or an electrician? No, it couldn't have been an electrician because we're using our old guy still. I think it was a plumber. And Irfan asked him, to do something. And he said, how much is it going to be? And the guy goes, he said, I charge everyone the same amount. I know you're probably expecting that the rate is going to be crazy because you live in a mansion, but he's like, I have one amount for everyone. I don't care if I go into a studio apartment or a multi-million dollar mansion. This is my rate. And Irfan was like, you're hired. Like that's integrity, right? Like that the example that comes in for me is imagine if you had hired an Uber and you get in the Uber and you expected to pay $63 for the Uber. That's what you checked on the app. Halfway through the Uber, the guy realizes that you're wealthy or you're a celebrity or you're successful. And he parks the car on the sideway and he says, well, actually, it's not going to be $63. It's going to be $5,000. And you're like, but it was $63 on the app. Yes, it was, but you're rich and you're a celebrity. And if you want to get on that flight, you're gonna pay $5,000. That's illegal, right? Like that's not right. Those are some of the things that wealthy people have to deal with, which is insane and crazy. But again, it goes back to strong boundaries, just being in integrity. And then those same people will go around saying wealthy people are stingy. No, we just don't see your value and we don't see that you're being out of integrity. Your price should be what your price is. Let me give you an example. Uh, Years ago, I was like a year and a half into my business, and I had my first celebrity client, and her personal assistant, reached out. And at first, I thought it was some kind of a scam or a joke or something. And I was like, this can't be happening, right? And the so the I Googled around and discovered that this person was this woman's personal assistant. And so I was like, oh my God. And so I was really embarrassed because the rates that I was charging at the time were like, I was charging like $300 an hour or something for like coaching sessions. It was like something really low when I first started, but that was my rate. So I sent her that link knowing that she's probably going to be like, what a peasant. Like, I can't believe I'm hiring this woman, right? But that is what my rate was. After I coached her, I changed my rates. I raised my rates for everyone. A lot of people would have seen that woman's name, that celebrity's name, and would have been like, oh, I charge $300 an hour, but I'm going to charge her $5,000. That would have been out of integrity of me because that's not what I was charging. And probably I wouldn't have had a container for it anyways. Coaching her expanded my container. And after that, I raised my prices for everyone. So the price is what the price is. That's you being in integrity. Yeah, that's so wrong, Doc. The woman who used to thread my upper lip used to charge me 5 times because she knew my income. That's happened to me. When people discover who I am, they'll change the price tag, raise the price. That's not, it makes me feel icky, and I don't like feeling icky when I'm spending money. It's against my core values to spend money when I'm icky. So then you're not going to get my business. I can't. There was a woman that I really wanted to work with, and she was doing this to me, and I called her out on it. It was really uncomfortable for me. It was really awkward. I was actually embarrassed for her because I felt like a woman of her caliber should not be doing that. It was peasantry, but I still wanted to work with her, so I called her out on it, and she doesn't do that with me anymore. We still work together. Mina, what if your container has expanded? How to communicate this with your employer? So keep a record of every a positive email that you get from your boss, from a client, from a coworker. Keep like have a folder in your email where you forward those to you like archive those things. Like anytime your boss is like, great job. Anytime a client is like, oh, you really saved us money on this. Anytime a colleague is like, thank you, you went out of your way on this project. Keep putting those things in the file. Then collect your thoughts in a journal of like the value that you bring, the value that you have brought, the value that you're bringing, and the value that you um, plan on bringing in the future, and then have a talk, but be prepared. Don't go in awkward with shaky energy. Go with receipts. Go with proof that this is the value I've provided. You know, this is what I've done. I helped this project. I did this. I saved money here. Blah blah blah. And so that's how you ask for a raise. Its peasant energy and embarrassing integrity and principle is such a wealthy abundance trait. That's what makes a person rich. Exactly. People think that, oh, you know, like even when they say uh, they, things like, what was I gonna say with this? Like, oh, they should pay me more because they're rich. No, they got rich by being in integrity, right? Well, there's some people that get rich by being evil, but again, money just amplifies whatever's in you. So we didn't, Irfan and I didn't get rich by being dumb with money, by being stupid, by receiving, accepting bad behavior from people that were working for us. So we're going to continue doing that at every level. And those are the expectations. Those are the rules. Those are the boundaries. How do you hold space for yourself when you have a desire to keep your same clients, but it's time to go higher? So I don't want to trap anyone with me. I don't like that feeling of trap. So my feeling is always this or something better. So what I used to do when I would raise my prices and I had people that their projects or packages were ending is I would send out an email saying it's been pleasure working with you. I have so much fun. We would love continue working with you. Starting on this date, my rates are going up, and if you would like to continue working, these are the new payment plans or these are the new payment links. You do it with normal, healthy energy. You're not weird about it, and then no one's weird about it. People just mirror back to you whatever weirdness you have, right? So, and then some people would stop working with me, some would continue, and new people would come in at the new price. But when you go to a hotel in a rich area, you pay a higher price because it's a rich area, the same with countries. Yes, but their price doesn't change when they see you. It's the price for being in a rich area. That's different, right? I love staying in wealthy hotels. I love paying extra. I love having the luxury suite. That's the stage and season of life that I get to be in now. They're not price changing me based on, oh, Mina Irfan's coming, let's charge her more. The prices are on their website. You can decide not to pay that, or you can decide to pay that. That's being in integrity. They're not changing the price for people. Oh, guys, I have to also mention, oh my God, I totally forgot to mention this. So the basic babe bundle, there's a special offer right now. I'm offering 111 off the price, no code needed for my 13-year anniversary. I decided to do a special offer, so I'm going to drop that link in the chat. It's also in the description box, and I'll pin it to the first comment. How do you take action when you are being summoned to a higher level financially? I just ask God what God wants me to do next, and then I move my hands and feet. I'm in the hair industry and people do that. They shame me for charging celebrities the same as I charge other people. I just feel like it's wrong. My prices are my prices. Yes, I know some people just think you should price it based on their container. No, you should price it based on your container and it gets to evolve. Maybe when you have celebrity clients, you raise your prices for everyone and you only work with a certain caliber of um, clients. Like that's legit. But charging people different prices, I'm pretty sure that's illegal actually. Mina, which course would you recommend for discovering what my divine skill sets are for starting my own business? I feel like a jack of all trade, master of none, maybe because I'm a many Jen. Start with, I would say read my book and try truth testing and see what's coming up first. But I teach you a really potent exercise also in the CEO Boss Queen in the first couple of modules to discover what you can start your business on and what would feel best for you. Is the Millionaire's Play Shop a great start for the self-aware Barbie? It is designed for the self-aware Barbie. Like designed for her. It will just quantum leap you into the million dollar babe. That's such a great point, Melissa. I have done this for my intensives. Celebrities like VIP service, so you can always have a VIP package and they'll lean toward the highest experience. Exactly. You can do that. However, if you're charging someone else for that same price for that same package differently, that and then them differently, that's out of integrity. But you can ha definitely have tiers of pricing. Absolutely. Also, make sure that you know how to work with wealthy people. That could be a whole training. People act so bizarre and weird sometimes in the presence of money. It's so off-putting and just such a turn off. And then the thing is like it's one of those things that Armaan and I talk about this all the time. Anytime we hear someone saying, "Oh, wealthy people are so stingy," I'm like, "What were you doing?" Because wealthy people are not stingy. We become that way sometimes with you when people will start acting really weird and bringing like really creating problems and then bringing them to you in the hopes that you save them from it, asking for cars and homes, like weird stuff, like really bizarre stuff. So then we have to like guard ourselves and our energy changes and then we appear stingy to you, but we're not really stingy with other people. So a lot of times now, when I hear stuff like that, I'm very skeptical because I've seen some really weird behavior from people. So I'm just like, what did you do? What energy did you bring? What did you say that led that behavior? Were you expecting them to buy you a mansion because you cleaned their home, right? And then called them stingy? They're not going to do that. Super 50 Susie, thank you for the super chat. She said, your courses feel so good to me. I just received the promotion and I'm the most stressed I've ever been. I'm 33 years old and never married. So I would examine what your beliefs are on earning more money. A lot of us have been raised to believe that earning more money comes with more work, comes with more stress, comes with more problems. So anytime there is an opportunity to earn more money, our subconscious has to create more stress, more work, more problems because we think that those two things are coupled together. And so that's what I would examine. Can you talk about needing to be a provider for versus letting someone provide for you because of the good of the family? It hit home so deeply. Um, Men need to provide to feel healthy. When women provide, it's because they have something to prove, they're overgiving, or they think that if they behave like men, then men will mirror that back. But men don't want to do that for other men, they want to do that for feminine women. So, l- let let everyone in your family be healthy. So that's the culture of my home. We let kids do what Homo sapien kids have evolved to do. We let Irfan, who's a man, let him do what a Homo sapien man has evolved to do and what will make him feel the most healthy. And we let me do, because I'm in a female body, what Homo sapien females have evolved to do because that will feel the most best for me. And then we added some modern twists because we're a byproduct of evolution, but we're also creating evolution. So we add a little sprinkle of our own modern behaviors But the foundation is built on what is already there so that we can all be healthy. Yeah? So, ladies, I hope this has helped you prepare. This was the pre-work for my financial literacy masterclasses that are coming up soon in the Level Up Queens membership. You can sign up via the link in the description box. There's also a join button. Sometimes it's not available from a certain device. So if you can't see it, try a different device. Like if you can't see it on your phone, try your computer. If you can't see it on your computer, try your phone. Like try different things because if you, I don't know if do you have to be logged in? Maybe you even have to be logged in to see it. So join the membership. I will eventually take those down and put them in either my existing money course or a new money course. I haven't decided yet. Also, the basic babe bundle is 111 off right now for my 13-year YouTube anniversary. Of course, I have my two books and I have my journals that you guys can also purchase. For those of you guys coming to the Incarnate Intensive this week in Houston, I'm so excited to see you. I can't wait, super excited. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.